Hey, let's talk about some of the things in Unit 4 here, real quick, that I think are really important. Um, Unit 4 starts out with talking about cases, and what it's really talking about is the relationship that citizens have with their government. Okay. Um, Starting with National Bank and some of the early um, Supreme Court cases that have helped define law that it still exists today. Um, and then sort of this combination of states' rights versus national rights, which is clearly still an issue today. Important case review of Dred Scott. And then we get into a nice little chunk of stuff that talks about civil rights. Plessy versus Ferguson, which was this case that established the separate but equal clause, and then Brown versus Board of Education, which overturned that clause. Keep in mind that separate but equal was this idea that you could have different institutions for whites and blacks, but they would be equal. They were never equal. They were never equally funded. And that's where it starts. And then you can just go down the list from things from there. The focus notes assignment is an important part of this because it's tied to the discussion. And I think it has some really solid relevance that just sort of like this connection to the world today too, and stuff that we've started going through again and that we're dealing with as a country. So there's a great video on civil rights here. It's 6 minutes long at the top at the most, and then I ask you to fill in these questions here and answer them. What was the greatest rise? When was the greatest rise? This is a date. Okay, I'm looking for specific responses. What was the importance of Brown versus Board of Education? Okay, there are specifics, and I do read these, so people have lost points because they don't answer these questions correctly. So make sure and go back, just like on all the focus notes, but go back and highlight words that you don't understand, and highlight a question here or any of these questions here that you think apply to you, and explain why in this section right here, right? Do you think the promise, or do you believe that the promise of equality has been fulfilled now? Um, and that's the idea that everybody has the same equal experiences. Although we don't all have the same equal experiences, but we're all equal before the law. That's what it says. Is that promise of equality really fulfilled, or does it exist just in name? So you decide, and then compare and contrast the movements of the '60s to the movements of the '20s. And if you don't know that much about the '60s, what you might know is not everything. So if you can take a look and see, they talked about it a little bit in the video, but there's a lot of similarities. There are some differences. Combine those two, those go into your answer for your discussion question, which comes next on this um, in 18. And then I want to look at a couple of things down here towards the end of this unit. This is my favorite unit in this government class because I think it has the most relevance to you as a person. I mean, there's connections in like the stuff about the three branches because you have to deal with that, and then some of the early discussions in equality, which I like that assignment. But this one right here, that connection that you make, this is where you're getting into that age where these are important things, and you get to vote now. You get to have a say in how this government is run, and these are important elements that you need to understand. Some indigenous peoples or American Indian movement talk here, and then talk about women's rights and discrimination and inequality and all of that. So this video assignment will be up here and is what you're watching right now, and it'll be up here. But I really like this unit. I hope you enjoy it as well.